Again, spirituality is an experience. You are not taught this.
Have you ever heard someone say that I'm spiritual? Or they would say that I don't believe in God, but I'm spiritual. Some of them will say that I'm not Christian, but I'm spiritual. And sometimes it will come forth as to say or as to mean that they believe in God. I remember I used to believe that when people say that I'm spiritual, that means that they believe in God straight. Sometimes I would think that maybe they have a great understanding of God. But as I studied and continues to grow in understanding, I started to ask some questions to especially people who are African spiritualists. And I would notice other people, they would shiver when I asked those questions. And I would wonder, do people understand when they speak about spirituality? Because Sangomas believe that they are spiritual. African spiritualists believe that they are spiritual. People in China, people in Indonesia, in Brazil, in Mexico, in America, Native Americans, a lot of people, they believe that they are spiritual. And that scares me a bit because, for instance, when we talk about spirit, we talk about not tangible, right, person. So William is spirit and he's in flesh, right? And we believe that this person, the spirit, carries emotions, carries thoughts, carries belief, carries all the core things. So the flesh would be just the body, right? But all the core things I carried in the spirit. So that means that we are created for the longing of serving one true God. So we are created by the Spirit, which is God. God is Spirit. And He created me and He breathed in me spirit, right? And so what that means that I'm created to long for Him. But let's step back a bit. A lot of people seem to believe that when you say spiritual, no, I'm spiritual, it means that you are serving a one true God in any way or form. It doesn't matter if you are into sorcery. It doesn't matter if you are into witchcraft. It doesn't matter if you are a Sangoma. It doesn't matter if you are into African spirituality or whatever. They would believe that they are serving the one true God, right? Unless they know that they are witches. But let's move. Let's go back to our thought. You're right. So since then I am created by God who is spirit, then I, William, am spirit and carry emotions and thoughts and so forth. So that means that I'm created for the longing of God, right? So because then God is not physical, I can't see Him. So now I try to create, I'm talking now about African spirituality and other, traditional spiritualists or whatever. They try to create things in order for them to serve God. And one of the things that were created was the spirit realm. And they would say that ancestors, people who are late, who came before us, they communicate with them from the spirit world to guide and instruct them about life. The things that they face in the physical world, right? So that is, they would tell them about the future. They would tell them how to heal someone. They would tell them how to do things. They would tell them how to advise and so forth, right? So these ancestors are in the spirit world. So here's the second question. Now we have learned that I'm spirit. And secondly, I'm created by God who is spirit. And I'm created, thirdly, with a longing for God. But because I lost myself, now I'm creating all these traditions and things to be able to help me to get back to God, right? And serve God. So now the belief of African spirituality or some other African spiritualist is that, they are believing in one true God and their ancestors are leading them to this one true God. And now The problem is so many of them are worshiping ancestors. So many of them are serving ancestors, right? So that's a problem. So now here's another question. These ancestors are in the spirit world. Who created the spirit world? Because now we cannot see nor touch the spirit world, right? So now, who created the spirit world? So since we were created by God, who is spirit, then that means that he created the spirit world and dictates what happens in the spirit world. Not only that, but he created heaven and he dictates who gets to heaven and how they get to heaven. So now here is a problem for African spiritualists. You know, for us Christians, we say that everything flows through Jesus Christ because God knew that the devil is there and the devil is a problem. And the devil is misleading his people along with his fallen angels. You know, they're misleading God's people. So God sends forth his son so that we can be able to have a direct access to God, right? So Jesus is the mediator. So for us, it's very clear. But now for people who are like African spiritualists or traditional believers who are spiritual, they now have a problem because now they serving ancestors who are spirit. They themselves are spirit in flesh, and they are serving ancestors or asking ancestors for advice and for future, you know, to know what's going to happen in the future and for healing and for whatnot. They talk to ancestors who are in the spirit realm, and they also assume that these ancestors are leading them to God. They are mediating between them and God. And now the problem with their belief, somehow they believe that ancestors are divine. That's the thing. When you listen to them speak, you know, when you listen, some of them become Christians and they would say that you will still need ancestors, you know, because somehow they believe that ancestors are divine. But here's the thing about this one true God. He's a jealous God, the creator of heaven and earth. He's a jealous God and he wants to be served. And he doesn't want any other person to be served or worshipped, right? So that means that now African spiritualists, they have a problem there. These ancestors are not leading them anywhere. So who are these people that they are serving? So you'd find that they are not ancestors, because if they were late and they were ancestors, they would say, do not talk to us and do not serve us because God is a jealous God, right? But there's no communication like that, right? But anyway, I was asking these questions because now people always talk about spirit. They say that I'm spiritual. They don't realize that a lot of what they are saying leads to demonic things. When people say, I'm spiritual. No, I'm finding myself, I'm spiritual. No, I'm starting to understand myself, I'm spiritual. But whatever that they are doing, thinking that it's going to connect them to the one creator of the universe, is actually misleading them and leading them astray. So that means that whatever they are serving is not from God. So it's just a conversation for another day, something that came to mind, that there's a problem in their belief. I don't know if they see it or they ignore it or they just go about business. And you'll hear them when they going to speak now and just type on the comments. They're going to speak about, no, you are the one who's confused. But I want to challenge you as African spiritual. Take me as a person who wants to be indoctrinated into your belief. I'm just saying, I don't want to be indoctrinated to your belief. But take me as a person who wants to be indoctrinated into your belief. And answer these questions for me. Who created the spirit world? Who created the spirit realm? Where are your ancestors? Where are they advising you to? When you die, are you going to be an ancestor? And when your ancestors, some of them were broke, are they able to give you money? Are they able to give you protection? Some of you died with hate. Some of them died with hate. You think they love you? You know? So answer those questions, because for me, that's a problem, right? And I know some of you have questions when it comes to Christianity, but this video is not for the purpose of that. This video is a purpose of making people understand that when people say that I'm spiritual, you need to flee from those people because they themselves are confused. They don't know who they are serving, what they are serving, or where they are going, And because of that, they might lead you astray. So, fellow Christians, I pray that you, flee from having conversations with such people because they will confuse you and they will lead you astray. And most of them are African spiritualists. Most of them are sangomas. Most of them are, spiritualists. Most of them, these people are lost. So we need to be able to assist them to be able to find truth. And that truth is Jesus Christ. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button. Let's grow together. One of the things that I wanted to end with is this. Spirituality in general is an individual search for meaning, purpose, and connection with something larger than oneself, whether through belief in a higher power, personal growth, or understanding one's inner person. So, inner dimension. So there is not a lot about, in that definition, there is not a lot about God, but they speak about belief in higher power. So it doesn't really speak about God. So when someone says that I'm spiritual, you need to know that they are confused. Thank you so much. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button. Let's grow together.